How do I start this thing?
Have you plugged the bloody USB in?
Yeah, it's in.
Nah, man, that's the wrong port. Oh, wait, it's flashing now.
Is it it's recording.
Well, let's start this thing, fool!
Hello, everyone. I'm Amelia.
Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to Ask the Duo podcast, a podcast where we get deep into those late-night, unfiltered conversations.
We'll be discussing all things lifestyle, relationship, mindset, and more.
Alright, let's get to it! Yo, 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 yo.
Hello.
We just finished watching a movie called Everything, Everywhere,
All at once,
All
I
at
think.
Once.
It was definitely as
It was a bit
weird and twisted as the title sounds.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mind fuck, but
Did you like it?
I mean, it kind of felt like Inception across Matrix kind of movie, but it seemed like there was a lot more going on behind the obvious of the movie.
Yeah, but did you enjoy it or?
Look, to be honest, it was very confusing multiple times in the whole movie, but towards the end, it was definitely I could see where they were sort of trying to go at. Yeah,
I think towards the end, I started to like it a little more, but as an overall, probably not a movie that I would enjoy. Like, a lot of people hyped it up for me. I think a lot of people were saying how it's really good, you really need to see it. But when I watched it, it wasn't as hyped as I thought it would be. Yeah, and it's kind of weird because a lot of people, as you've mentioned before, hyped it up and said it was really good. But I mean, like, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's not bad, but it's just not like it was amazing. Like, I find things like Avenger and those type of movies like awesome. Like, it's just mind blowing when you watch it. But this one, I'm kind of like, I could have watched it or I didn't really need to watch it. Either way, it still works for me. Yes, it's still like an interesting movie. But today, we thought about certain things that we're going to talk about. And what really struck our mind was things that matters the most in your life right now. Right here. Right now. Right here. What are you, a commercial? Right, ding, ding, ding. I don't actually know the tune. Nice. Well, start off with you. Well, I mean, you can start. No, you can't flip that table. Well, like when someone asks you what matters the most in your life right now, what's the first thing that pops into your mind without really thinking? I think the main one that comes to my mind, the first thing that is individual growth. So how can I self-improve at the fullest and the most is where I sort of stand. But is that in a career standpoint or that's an overall perspective. Me as me and me as in everything. So work, me as Sam, me as But yeah, things. You gotta dive deeper. Like, if you're gonna have a goal to work towards, especially something like that, you gotta have something that you can kind of specifically. But keep in mind, this is not a goal. This is just things that matter the most in life at this point in time. So it doesn't have to be defined specifically to goals, which, this is just life. In your lifetime, what are you always trying to prioritize or preference? So as long as you progress or you keep growing, that's what matters the most. Yeah, 100%. What about you? I think right now is definitely preserving my calm and peaceful mental state, which is also just protecting my energy. The reason why I say this though is because, I've gone through many challenges in life. Like, I'm not trying to sound like a Confucius or whatever. I used to have a really crazy, hectic lifestyle. Everything's very full on. And it definitely didn't hit my mindset all that great. Sometimes, when you just have so much going on, your mind can get a little beat up. So for me, no matter what it is just trying to keep and protect my energy. No matter what that is if it's to
give myself the time to stay at home by myself, because I honestly enjoy spending time by myself. Like, I can go shopping by myself, I can stay at home by myself, watch movies, and I just love that, and that's what helps ground me and also keeps me at peace, like channeling my Zen mode. But that's what I ultimately aim for and what matters to me in life right now. That's one of them. Just keeping at peace with my own mindset.
Yep. And do you think you're continuously sort of prioritizing that as a preference? Is that something you're always going, okay, I need to really focus on that?
Like, lately, it's definitely the highest, or one of the highest priorities. Previously, maybe in the last few years, or even before that, I would say it wasn't, because my younger self, I didn't see myself as a priority. I always thought of other people, and that's not a bad thing, but I never thought of myself, never took care of myself. And then working crazy years, that was also a different phase of not taking care of myself. And now I've just come to the point where I just don't want my mind to be cluttered with just too much mess in there, thinking about too many things that either I can't control or challenges that are out of my hands, and just be more at peace and doing things that grounds me, essentially, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But do you think that in the past it's something that you just, as you mentioned, you overlooked at it? You never really took it into a serious consideration, but was there a moment where you realized, oh shit, I really need to look at that?
Yeah, so I have, I don't know, a few years ago, I would definitely say I was not at my worst, but my mindset, I see your brain or your mindset is like a muscle. You gotta train it, and the more negative thoughts you have in there, the more that muscle is gonna grow. But the more positive mindset that you have, and you keep feeding yourself those positive, what they say, affirmations, that's how you keep your mind thinking positive things. And I forgot what you said. What was the question?
I kind of forgot it myself too.
I'm so zen, I zoned out.
No, so the question was, in the past, you obviously acknowledged that you always overlooked it. You're more focused on other people and other things in your life. But at which point did you realize, oh shit, I need to look at this again?
Oh, yeah.
Me?
So I think it got to a point where the negative muscle was definitely growing a lot stronger, overpowering my positive mindset. And yeah, I eventually seeked out a psychologist, which back then I was really actually ashamed of telling people, because in the past, you don't hear people talking about it, and the perception is like, if you see a psychologist, you're crazy and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, it was beneficial. Went to see one, and they just helped me talk through a lot of things. And I got into a phase of just listening to a whole bunch of podcasts about, positive mindsets and just self-help, and reading a lot of quotes and, all that kind of stuff. And that definitely helped me grow that positive mindset muscle, and not just the positive mindset, but just everything and how you look in life. And that actually is what taught me what we're doing right now, is opening people's minds to other perspectives, because you may see, or you may have grown up knowing things from one perspective, but that's never the case. Like, you may know one way of doing things, but there's actually 10,000s of doing the same thing in many other ways. So that's where it started, essentially.
Yeah, and you bring up a really important thing here, as you alluded to. Having these conversations really help the listeners sort of understand that, there are other alternatives or perspectives that you can look into. And a lot of people sort of feel ashamed or, I guess, scared to look into it deeper. Mm-hmm. And I think it is healthy to seek help and that sort of stuff. So I think, what you're doing at the moment is actually a good step sort of moving forward. Other than that particular matter, is there any other things that you value the most in life at the moment?
So protecting my energy and keeping myself at peace, what influenced my other decisions. So the other ones would be spending quality time with people that matter or building quality relationships. And this is based off that protecting my energy, because if I'm hanging around with people who are just, either really negative or...
You're trying to preserve energy and trying to obviously utilize the energy at the right time in terms of finding the right people, i.e. friends and stuff like that share a very similar wavelength or I guess, mind frame as what you are.
Like, you guys share the same vibe, and it's not like preserving the energy. Like, the people that are right for you, especially at the time or the seasons that you're going through, they should bring more energy to you that energizes you rather than drain you. So for me, if I'm hanging around with people who are just always negative, that just drains me, because always negative, but in a way where they don't want to help themselves and they just can only complain. I'm a person who would like to give solutions or try to get some recommendations in to help them, but if they're not actively wanting to help themselves, then that's draining me, because I'm trying to help, or they look like they want help, but they're not willing to help themselves. And I'm just, I don't know what to do here. And I just feel bad for them, and I want to continue to help, but I can't. So
yeah, I can definitely understand that and can relate to that, because I think, especially from your point of view, you already got things that you're dealing with in your own space. When you have friends that you are obviously trying to help, that's obviously something that you as a person, that's just a natural thing because you want to help. But because you're already going through your own battles, it's like, well, you need to sort of help yourself and preserve that energy to fix yourself before fixing other people or attempting to fix other people.
Yeah, but that's a weird thing, because definitely when I was younger, I actually find enjoyment, and I still do, and that's what brings me energy in helping other people, especially when I am faced with my own challenges. So helping other people kind of just helped me forget about my own challenges. I don't know if that ended up building up, and that's why I had such a massive negative mindset, because I didn't deal with my own problems. But that's a different topic. But I just feel like maybe it's just this year. Like, this year is definitely a lot busier, and even last year it's just been crazy busy. So I don't know, sometimes I just don't feel like I have the energy. Yeah, just trying to build the right relationships, build quality relationships, and feed off each other's energy.
Yeah, I think that's a really important factor, especially when you've got a lot of things going on. You need to make sure that you're focused on your own self, because you as a person, you come first, right? So
yeah, it's kind of like a battery, like,
yeah, you need to recharge yourself. Yeah.
Positive and negative. And if you're constantly giving out, which is completely fine, but you don't get the energy back, you're just eventually going to drain that battery, and that battery is going to die.
Yeah. I can understand that, because I sort of a little bit off topic, but I used to be similar to you, where I found enjoyment in helping others, but it gets to a point where you're just like, well,
you can only help so much and so many people. Like, honestly, if I was a superwoman, or if you were a Superman that can help everyone in the world with all their problems, that'd be awesome. But we're only human, we can only help so much. And sometimes, for me personally, I would feel bad that I didn't end up helping someone. Like, I would actually feel so guilty that this problem ends up in my mind, and it runs through my mind forever. And that's not good. And that's the other thing that I had to learn to build up, is to be okay. Maybe you just had to explain to that person that right now you just are unable to help them. You could just lend an ear. You don't always have to give a solution.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like you said, you can only realistically give so much. And if that person who's not perceiving that message, it's really their choice.
Yeah, that's up to them.
Yeah.
Where they want to take themselves in the next step. It's not up to us. We've done what we can. Like, obviously, if your friend's going to be homeless or something, or down in a ditch, we won't let them get to that point.
Yeah.
if it's something as small as, like, I don't know what to choose, can you help me pick this or that? And then gave them the option and they still don't know what to pick, then that's up to them.
Yeah, it's really their choice, right?
That was like the worst example, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get it.
What's your other one? You only mentioned one.
Yeah, so the second one for me is health. So the last 10 to, 15 years, I've been very active in terms of physical activities and stuff like that. So I've been
fitness.
Yeah, so fitness. I've been really pushing my body hard in terms of training and that sort of stuff. Realistically, like the last year or two, I've sort of realized and I can feel that my body is definitely degrading.
But in what way do you feel that is degrading?
Well, I mean, healing, just recovery, just how I react to certain things. Like I can definitely tell that my body is slowing down. And it's not the fact that, you know, in the last 10, 15 years of me training and doing all these things, like I didn't look after myself. It wasn't that. It was just that
it takes longer to recover from your workouts.
Well, yeah, but I also get injured too often, like small things that are not like serious, but it's lingering things that prevent you from accelerating forward or moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's definitely like, it's a thing that I'm very conscious about now. It's just like, well, life's so short. You don't know if doing certain things or eating a certain way or not understanding your body enough, you could be something.
So right now, what matters to you is having that balanced health between actual physical fitness and also your body health.
Yeah, just body health and somewhat mental space, because training is a lot like your mental capacity as well, outside of just that physical thing. And I think a lot of people sort of misconceive what that physical aspect is. And when you train hard or if you do certain sports, it's not just the physical fitness, it's also the mental capacity as well.
In what way? Like, can you explain what that means?
Well, for example, like if you're training for strength or powerlifting or that sort of stuff, yes, you are pushing your body to its limits, but it's also your mind that you have to push too, because your mind is stronger than your body. Your mind's always going to say, oh shit, I'm feeling crap today, or no, don't do this. You could, you're not strong enough, or you're prone to injure yourself. But
yeah, which leads back to me previously saying, like, negativity or positivity, how you have your mindset is still a muscle as well.
Yeah. So it's taking and pushing your mind to really get around that roadblock.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like pushing your mind through a challenge, a different kind of challenge.
Yeah.
And telling your body that, yes, you can lift this heavy weight, or yes, you can do, what we just went through on, what was it, Tuesday, when we went to Muay Thai and it was 3 minutes, 3 rounds of 3 minutes, and it was on and off. It was constant throughout the 3 minutes, but it was like 15 seconds, like hard, freestyle kicks and punches, and then you gotta do 15 seconds of just soft. But doing that 3 minutes by 3 rounds, that was so tiring, and you have to train your mind to keep your body to keep going, because you can't stop, because it was only the first round that we went through and we're already tired.
Yeah, and even before starting that session, like that, we did other things like cardio stuff. We did like 5 rounds of 4.
Well, this was already the end of the class, so that was already like 45 minutes gone, and then the last 15 minutes it was just doing that 3 by 3 round. So that was intense, and it's just training your brain, a different kind of muscle, to work through that and push through that.
Yeah, so relating it back, that is definitely something that I'm like secondary thing that I'm really thinking about that matters at the moment. So
does that mean that now you're more conscious on how often or how hard you push your workouts, or like what's your priorities now in terms of health in that manner? Being
conscious about pushing yourself, but fueling yourself, and also resting. But at the same time, it's like you still want to keep moving, you still want to be active, but within reason.
And it's just also listening to your body as to when you feel tired or when you feel like shit.
Well, sometimes it's not about moving in a way where you think you have to be in a gym or you have to be at Muay Thai. It's just like you can go for a walk for 30
being
minutes.
active, right? Just to move around, not actually physically doing lifting or anything like that. It's just like moving around, not being a slug, you know what I mean? Like, doing those things to sort of get out of the groove.
Yeah, so if you catch yourself sitting at the computer for too long, maybe stand up, go clean the dishes for a little bit, or vacuum, or something like that, where you're actually moving and not just sitting there.
Yeah, 100%. And then what's your third one? Because I think you've got another one.
So this one is more of like a comparison of what I used to think. So a bit on the finance side, money, and a bit of preserving my time. So I did used to think buying the cheapest thing, getting the biggest deal. But sometimes, like now, I feel like I enjoy my time, having time more, maybe because I'm a lot busier now. So time is not on my hands sometimes. So if I can actually pay for something that can kind of give me more time, and that time I would rather be spending, quality time with you, quality time with friends. Obviously within reason, I'm not going to spend, $50 on Uber Eats just because that cuts me down from ordering, going out, coming back. Like, it really depends, but I can find the balance between time and money. If it's like a good balance and it's worth my time, like cutting down, worth my money and me getting quality time out of that, I would rather spend that money. Whereas back then I'd be like, no, I am not spending that money. I can go there, get it myself, or I can do this myself. I'll make it. And then they'll save me $20, save me $50. But now I would pay someone to make something for me and it saves me time.
So do you think you value the time more now? Is that basically what you're
I
saying?
value time more and within reason. And if it buys me quality time with people or quality time with myself, which is again protecting my energy, I would rather spend that little more so that I can have that.
And would you say that relating it to the first matter, it has somewhat a correlation to I guess time and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, I would, if it can buy me more time where I can spend time with either you or friends, or I can have more time for myself to rest up if I was like having a really busy day, I would spend that money. But I am still also very conscious on the finance side sometimes. So if it's too much and it's not too much of a hassle, doesn't take me too long to either get this thing or make whatever this is, I would do it. So it's like just finding the balance between the time versus money.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that kind of relates to me because that's sort of the third thing for me. It's the experience on the value of a combination of money and doing things. So I think in the past, I've always been very, let's say, tight ass.
Yeah, you were quite
when it comes to doing things when it costs money, or because I didn't want to spend it, or I just didn't think that I just didn't fathom the experience based off spending money. Because we always were, as Asians more so, spending money is always like not say a bad thing. It's just like, well, why waste money when you could do this, or you could find a cheaper alternative to do this.
Yeah, like you would see parents would keep a toothbrush for like 20 years and not dump it out because they don't want to spend that extra $2 to buy a new toothbrush. That's like the extent of how it can get.
Yeah, and it's like, well, life's so short. We should really start, taking advantage of what we have in this lifetime.
Advantage is just enjoying life while you can.
Well, that's what it relates to, right? So it's just like enjoying the time that you have and then utilizing the things that you can use that's exposed to you that you don't even know that you potentially could do.
Like, use it wisely. Obviously, don't fling
within
money
reason, of course,
everywhere, but you know, you're not promised tomorrow. Like, no one is promised tomorrow. So, you know, if you really think that this is going to give you a good experience or good quality time with people that you enjoy or for yourself, then go for it. Like, don't hold back, because if you hold back and you don't enjoy that experience, you didn't even give yourself a chance to experience that, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and then all that money doesn't really go anywhere. And money you can always make back.
Yeah, and what really sort of made me think about this actually most recently was I went to a friend's bucks party and I was having a conversation with one of the guys there, and I was talking about we went to a driving range. And I was like, oh, this place it's expensive. Like, I think it's like $80 for one person or per person just to hit the fucking balls down the driving range.
But you get food, don't you?
Yes, you get food, but it's just finger food. But anyway, the conversation was pretty much like, oh, you know, I've been here once, but I don't think it's worth it because it's so expensive. And one of the guys there, which is my mate, he was just like, dude, yeah, I get that it's expensive, but you need to cherish the moments that you can take with your friends and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that
so you need to live it a little bit and just spend it. And I was like, yeah, true, but you know, it's got to be, there's certain preferences or values that you can say, well, yeah, let's spend that extra money to experience a certain thing. And he was just like, well, outside of experience, it could be like monetary asset. For an example, oh, you would buy a Rolex watch. Well, yes, from an object point of view, a Rolex is really expensive. But to even achieve to buy a Rolex to begin with, it's like, well, it's an experience, right? It's an achievement. You for an individual to actually get something. And it sort of made me think like, oh shit, he's actually got a good point. Like, yeah, you could buy expensive stuff, but as long as you're not buying expensive stuff to, you know, show it off and prove a point to other people, it's more about you. Like, why are you buying it for you? Do you actually like it? Do you experience things from that? And the way he sort of explained it to me was, it sort of clicked in my mind. I was like, oh shit, like, yeah, I always thought about things like that, but not in a way where it's like, well, you buy things, you do things for, yes, the experience, but to achieve things for you as a person. So that's definitely something that's sort of been in my mind in terms of just spending the money.
Yeah, well, I agree with your friend, and I also see it this way, like how he was explaining it. Yes, it is $80 for, you know, driving range golf, but how often do you do that, and how often do you do it with all your friends, which is not often. So it's, again, that's what I mean. Sometimes if it's worth spending it for the quality time, which is also paired with experience, it's worth spending, because really it's not the money that you're using that time and money to get quality time with friends. And, you know, as long as you're not, you know, going out clubbing and drinking every single weekend or something like that, that's a different story. But this is, you know, one, it's a bucks party. Two, it's with all your friends that, you know, you enjoy spending time with, so it's worth spending.
Yeah, and I guess that conversation with my friend, it kind of made me realize, like, some of my friends don't cherish those things sometimes, or they overlook, I guess, those moments. It's like, oh, well, it's all about my money. It's all about, like, me being an adult now. I need, you know, because I'm a certain age and we're adulting and that sort of stuff. It's like, well, yeah, obviously we as humans grow older and that sort of stuff, but it's like there's more to experience in life that you should cherish and that should matter to you.
Yeah, it's finding, I know for me, maybe this is the thing that matters the most in life, is just finding that right balance between how much you should spend, like if we're talking about money, how much you should spend and enjoy, and how much you should actually, you know, keep and save for something else, and how much time you should be spending going out with friends and all that, and how much time you actually need to, you know, do the adult stuff and be responsible. Especially when you have a home, you might have to clean it, you might have to do the washing, you might have to cook. Like, it's just finding the balance between that. Like, everything in life has a balance, And
responsibilities too. So
yeah, and if you go too far one way or the other, you would eventually start to feel off balance.
Yeah, 100%. Do you have another thing that you wanted to mention, or
no? That's pretty much it. Keeping life simple, protecting my energy and inner peace, quality time versus what I should spend on, and spending that money to get that quality time, and building quality relationships with friends, families, and of course you.
Nice. And I think for me,
is that all you have to say? Nice.
No, look, for me, experience, well, first and foremost, it's me as an individual, because I want to be sure that I'm strongest to the fullest in my own capacity, because if I'm not strong in my own capacity, then I can't support you, I can't support friends, I can't support family, I can't be that mental and physical support. And me as a person, I want to be that. So first and foremost, me, focus on myself, improve, whether it's knowledge, whether it's, strength, whatever it is, it's just improving. And then obviously experience, spending that much time and investing in experience with friends and family and you and all that sort of stuff, because, life's short. You don't know what could or could not happen. And
yeah, and I can see where you've changed, because even for me back then, fine dining was kind of out of the picture because both of us can't really afford it, but I actually always enjoyed fine dining for the experience. And back then you maybe was thinking the food's not enough for the money, or it's too expensive. Those are most of the reasons that you wouldn't want to go, but now you actually enjoy going fine dining with me.
Yeah, because fine dining, when I was obviously in the early stages of my life, definitely quantity is what I valued the most, because if you're going out to buy a meal, you want to spend $10, and you want to make sure that $10 is going to get you the quality, i.e. the quantity of the actual meal itself. So whenever I thought about fine dining, I never really thought about, experience or, this environment that you're put in to enjoy the food. And it's not just the food. It's like the art, the passion that these chefs and the restaurant really gets deep into.
And it's also them experimenting with different flavors that you don't see at a casual dining.
Yeah.
And, you've also experienced quite a few fine dining now, and you know that you actually do get full from this stuff because they actually give you a whole lot of complimentary dishes that aren't on the menu.
I think that's probably one of the biggest things is comprehending, how much food basically comes out when you're thinking, it's a 10-course meal or 3 or 4, whatever, how many course meals. You think, it's shit all food, but when you're actually sitting there enjoying the food, getting the good drinks with it, it's actually quite filling. And I think coming from back then, not really giving a shit about fine dining food or not really taking it serious, to actually trying it and then going, holy shit, this is actually a really good experience. We've done so many freaking fine dining meals. It's, I don't know, I probably can't even count on our hands.
Yeah. Well, that's also a really important life lesson. This is something that my dad taught me, is always try it out before you say no matter how, you can judge it, look at it and be like, no, that looks like shit, or that doesn't look like enough. Considering from your experience, if you can definitely tell it's gonna be shit, then yeah, that's okay. But if it's something that's in the unknown, give it a go. You don't know, and then until you try it. So now that you've tried it, you actually enjoy fine dining. So that's just another life lesson for me that I like to see things as in life, is always give things a chance.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest slap in the face for me, is obviously being with you, is you made me realize that side of, I guess, experience. And that was a thing that in my upbringing, it's not that my family sort of taught me or pushed me towards that. It's just I never tried things. I always said, oh, it's probably too hard, so fuck it.
I think you and your family definitely steer towards the safe side, like, you know, stay within the safe guidelines. It wasn't ever, like, it's not a bad thing, it's just that you guys never explored outside of that safe zone. Whereas how I was brought up, no matter, like, yeah, you may fall, yeah, you may get some scratches, but now you've tried it, you know what will happen, and you learn from those challenges. Like, this is just, you know, if you're trying to ride a bike or something, but no matter what, as long as you know that it's not completely bad that you've experienced before, and it's something that's completely new to you, go and explore it, because you will never know.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest learning point is can definitely tell the difference between your dad and my dad. I wouldn't say my dad never pushed me, but my family never reinforced it, whereas your family probably did reinforce the fact of just giving it a crack. And I think that's definitely something that I apply to how I do things now, as well as how I mentor people as well. It's just giving it a go, because you're not going to know whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
It's until you try it, then you'll know, right? So
yeah, it's the same thing as, you know, asking the question. If you don't ask the question, you won't ever know the answer. And the worst you can get is a no.
Yeah.
And that's not even that bad. All you get is a no, and then you'll be like, okay,
yeah, you got
try
your answer.
something else.
And then you can even ask why.
Yep.
So,
if you haven't heard our previous episodes, go back to The Power of Why.
Yeah, so I mean, you can ask why and you can get more answers. And sometimes those answers will basically help you grow or understand and know what that situation is. So,
yeah. And I think we've steered a bit too far away
a little
from
off topic,
things that matter most in life. But for me, definitely protecting my energy, my inner peace, having quality time, and building quality relationships. And if that means spending a little money, then spend it. Like, don't hold back.
Yeah, and for me, it's just me as a person, as to grow as an individual, to grow to help others, family, friends, you, health, being conscious about how your body's feeling, the food that you're eating, when it's okay to rest or when it's okay to actually push yourself.
Yeah, know your body.
And experience, like, be okay to spend money to do certain things for friends and family, to experience as a collective.
Yeah, experiences are more valuable than money.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. What's the most important things or things that matter in your life right now? Thank you so much if you have reached to the end. We really appreciate you for tuning in. And if you like what you hear, please share it with your friends or family and subscribe to our podcast on whatever platform you are listening to.
Make sure you share any topics you'd like us to cover or questions you might have to our Instagram.
Slide it into our DMs.
Pika. You can also stay in the loop of all the behind the scenes and the release of our new episodes there too. Our Instagram is Ask the Duo Podcast. That's AskTheDuoPodcast. Man, feels like I'm in a spelling bee competition right now. Alright, that's it for now, and we'll see you back here for our next episode. Bye!
See ya!